Good morning. Today we're going to be taking a look at some XRP, some Velo data, liquidity, and the Sigma coin. So, all right, checking in here, we've been able to identify on the 5-minute XRP USD pairing over at Coinbase that we have a 5-wave move off the lows. Since then, we were able to complete an ABC correction, and now we're just kind of getting an idea of what this structure is because I can kind of see two different directions, so it's important to kind of be ready for either one coming into play. So with this price action that we see right here now currently, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave initial move off the lows here, an ABC correction for a higher low, and then this area right here ends up giving us a 1, and then you're gonna have a 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for completion of this 5th wave. Then we end up doing another ABC down for wave 4, doesn't cross over this wave 1 here basically, and finally this 5th. Okay, so we've got an impulsive 5-wave move off the lows, and in this structure here you can ultimately identify that this is now working potentially on a minor correction and then a continuation of this larger trade. So I threw a VWAP down here on the high basically, or just the high prior to the high, to give us some parallel channels here. And you can note that we end up having a move to beyond -2 deviations, which is this blue line, all the way back up, and now we rejected from the blue line above, and now we're back testing where most people are in the middle of the range. So now what we're looking for on this is, where's this wave 2? So was that the wave 2 where we had a 0.5 pullback of the entire move? Or is this maybe something a little different where there's a 5th wave that's going to continue a little bit higher and we get up to here maybe 260, sweep the liquidity, and then there's a smack back down and we end up having to come back down and retest a 702 or 618 fib for a larger ABC, and this was actually all one complete wave 5, and this is how we would count it right there, like that. So this chop is what's making me kind of decide, especially this particular candle, whether or not, or sorry, these particular candles, as to whether or not this is in fact a flat or something different that we're playing with here. And so we're ultimately trying to identify, do we have one more sweep of the lows, or are we just going to kind of march out of here and we're good to go? So now we go over to Velo data. I was seeing some beautiful, healthy area here where the open interest was in fact actually negative, but now it's flipped positive again. So there are some longs showing up, and they did close though when price action went up. So kind of an intriguing time period we're in right now. Just you have more open interest starting up, you end up having a increase in price, the shorts close, the longs close actually and take profits. Kind of strange. Anyway, weirdness going on here in the background data. Buying is just kind of stagnant for market buying. Doesn't mean that there isn't limit buying marching us higher, but then you again have a flip to the positive, still healthy overall, and our open interest is way healthy overall, like right in this region here. So ultimately this works out to nothing definitive that we have a reversal area occurring like we did here or even here. Now we're just kind of sideways chopping. So then bouncing over to the market cap chart, we can see that we have our 5-wave move off the lows, an ABC, and now this is a much more clear 5 waves. You can even see that the 2 levels here, kind of bounce. And I was hoping that we would get this structure right here, but there is a market cap gap down here at 276, which would be a potential pullback of from its current price back down to here to close that gap would be a 3.84% pullback. So if we're assuming that we're in the same area, it's a little delayed on timing, but let's assume we're in the same area, that would also give us a pullback down to right about here, which would close this gap that we were watching here on the left. So then finally we say, okay, well, what's our liquidity look like? And we can see that we do have liquidity on the 12-hour down to that low. 24, excuse me, also gives us some liquidity down here in the 245 region. And that aligns with our expectations that we could close down to this level here and sweep those late longs. So something to be mindful of, something to be mindful for. And finally, Sigma has also already kind of done that behavior. So here's this liquidity gap that it had, and you can see that it's completed the gap close off of the 5-wave move. And so now, assuming we hold this higher low, that's what we're ultimately looking for. We want to see a trend change, because over the course of this last year, we've had continual lower lows or lower highs pretty much overall, with lower lows continually overall. And now we would like to see our first trend shift change, where we bounce off the lows, hold this higher low, and then continue onward and upward. So that's the biggest thing that we're looking for here on Sigma. And we can see that the daily momentum is just now cooling off, getting fully reset on our stotch. And we can also see that our 3-day is crossing, but still has time to right itself by tomorrow. So if we can get some buys in and this ends up flipping, we can actually see the 3-day continue its way higher. But the good news is the daily has made it down to the bottom of the momentum. And now we just need to see a continuation that it can play out. So if XRP could help us, that'd be wonderful. So long story short, daily momentum is ready for Sigma with a gap close, hopefully with a higher low. That's what we're looking for. And now we want to start seeing higher highs and higher lows. The liquidity for XRP says on the short time frames is a chance we could still sweep lower and try for this 245 region. And then finally, the market cap chart shows us a more clear definitive move. So really I would have liked to have seen this come off the lows, but instead we're getting this much more grind. So hopefully this works out to a higher low and we end up having a move like so. And I just was too zoomed in. And so actually let's just get that not going that way. There we go. And let's do this instead. So a bigger move along these lines would still be fine, where we do a bigger 5-wave move off the lows. So anyway, that would be beneficial, and this would be still valid with a 382 back test of a wave 1, wave 2, but we're just always cognizant of the fact that there could be a larger 3.4% pullback. And Velo data says that there is longs, so they may go for them, but again, we're super healthy on the whole thing, and we do have market buyers stepping in, and price-wise, we could get back down to this one little inefficiency gap right down here, which would be that 3.8% pullback. So, all right, so hopefully that was helpful this morning, and we will continue to monitor price action. But if we do get a higher low here, that'd be wonderful, and now we can march out of here, and that'd be the completion of a larger ABC that can play out based off of this chop right here. So either a flat, or we get this is the completion of the 5th, and we do an ABC to get down. So, all right, thanks guys. We'll check in tomorrow.